This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Prime.
Well, India is a young country. In fact, by 2020, will be one of the world's youngest countries. A young country that is hungry for the best education opportunities and then, of course, the best employment. But is that possible when we look at the data as far as employment is concerned, jobs and skilling as well? Can we put India on the world map without giving the best quality education and opportunities to our youngsters? That's what we are looking at today. Let me introduce my panel to you right away. I'm joined by Jayant Krishna, Chief Operating Officer, NSDC. Also with us, Vivek Chandok, Founder and CEO of Saral Rozgar. This is a mobile-based jobs marketplace. Also with us in Delhi, Nidhi Lazara, Head Human Resources, Times Business Solutions. And joining us from Bengaluru, S. Vetheeswaran, CEO and MD of Manipal Global Education Services. Thanks all so much for taking out time to be with us today. Mr. Krishna, let me start by asking you, more than 30% of Indians aged between 15 to 29 years are neither in employment or in education and training. This is according to the OECD Economic Survey of 2017. Now, many would say that we're being typical journalists looking at the glass half empty. But these numbers are rather staggering. 30% of Indians between 15 to 29 is a significant number, isn't it?
Yeah, they call it a NEET, an acronym for this. This looks alarming. See, let's understand, while in the mainstream education system, if you look at the gross enrollment ratios and all, they look reasonably encouraging, except the 9th and 10th standard where a lot of dropouts happen, and later at the university level after class 12, a lot of people do not get into it. So those issues are there, but I think our skill numbers need to go up, because if you look at our entire student population, just about 3 to 4% of them board the skills bus. They get into any skilling program, as against most developed countries where anywhere between 70 to 85% people pursue a career in skills. Very clearly skills learning, training, and then employment or self-employment.
Absolutely.
So that is a that's a very different situation and a huge battle we as a country have to fight. But if you look at the data that you shared, the 30%, that also includes employment. See, new employment is coming. It's not that new jobs are not getting created. But let us be very clear, what are the issues there? See, 8 or 9 out of every 10 new jobs which are getting created, they are not aspirational. They are not in the organized and formal sector. They are in the informal, unorganized sector. Many people there don't even adhere to minimum wages. So, they are not aspirational jobs.
That's a great point that you make. They are not aspirational jobs. They are not what our youngsters who are going through higher education, who perhaps, with an end result, the kind of employment that they want to have in mind. Mr. Vetheeswaran, come in here at this stage. The big question, and there's been a fair amount of hand-wringing and chest-beating, sir, around this. Where are the jobs? Now, we saw that India's growth a couple of years ago, a couple of decades ago especially, was spurred by what was happening in the IT space. We've created some of the world's top IT giants. Now, we've seen that this is perhaps not the best time for IT, or perhaps we need new industries to come up. How much of this is a result of the fact that IT is perhaps not going to take the India story ahead? Look at what's happening in America with all the challenges we are facing. So do we need to now make sure that other industries follow what Indian IT did for the country?
Yeah, that is this whole supply and demand issue, which in my perspective is equally challenging to India as a country. We would need to generate 1 million jobs every month going forward in this country if we need to cater to the GER, as what he talked about, 30 million students in the colleges and maybe going to 50 million in the next 10 years or so. So, but taking on the example of IT that you said, I still think today the jobs are going to get classified as in two levels. The one would be the rule-based jobs, which in the IT today we are seeing a trend getting more into robotics. Rule-based jobs will get substituted, human beings would get substituted over a period of time by machines, by programs, and so on and so forth.
You know, Mr. Vetniswaran made a good point, Vivek Chandok. I'd like to get you in on the fact that this, of course, where are the jobs? What are the areas that we're creating jobs in, and this demand supply, and the other being this big challenge that, you know, how automation is going to take away the jobs that we're looking at. The numbers that the World Bank, etc., have put out are alarming. 3.5 lakh jobs over the next few years will be gone.
So I would like to begin with the answer of supply and demand, little bit data.
Sure.
Because we have got a lot of data insights. Being a Saral Rozgar, we have 6 million subscribers and more than 22,000 employers enrolled. Surprisingly data, every month we have got about, on my systems, 150,000 vacancies every month, which people wants to be filled within 1 to 2 months. So the demand is there. The point what I'm trying to make is 2 points what I'm trying to make based on the data, right? We got the first call, which is user experience, is that, sir, I'm a 12th class pass or a graduate and below, tell me what jobs are available for me. So we need to counsel people like what they can do with the basic qualifications. Also, they are not knowing about it. Now, the point of the automations and everything, automation will help you of increasing productivity as well. And India is a growing economy, and we have a lot of headrooms.
Right.
We have a lot of headrooms. So, and again, it's a business value system, right? So
don't make too much of it.
Don't make too much of it.
As far as job losses are concerned.
Too early. There may be certain level of jobs which can happen there. You know,
or
but
maybe they'll be created elsewhere. If they're taken up from one place, maybe they'll be created elsewhere.
Again, yeah. But at the same time, we have seen that. We have seen that in the past. It doesn't mean the Y2K has really impacted. Everybody's saying that IT will be down and everything's there.
But who's to say?
But who will make robots?
Right. I see.
So let's.
Okay.
So who will make, you know, those kind of things?
Maybe Mr. Chandok makes a good point that, you know, when we have people with very basic qualifications, I passed school, I've got through my class 12. Now you tell me what's on offer for someone with my skills. I'm not quite sure where my interests lie. I haven't really got any skilling beyond this, you know, class 12 pass certificate. What do we do? What are the kind of numbers in this country that we're looking at where people perhaps, the point that Mr. Krishna was making, not really looking at skilling as a mainstream opportunity that they ought to?
So, there are a lot of people who are graduating, and I think the problem is not with the jobs or the skills. I think that they are not even aware where their interest lies. So, I would like to take 2 steps back and see that when they are growing 9, 10 standard, do they really know where they want to go? Maybe they have certain things where they can actually excel, but they end up like being a round pin in a square hole. So we need to look at probably making themselves aware that what is it that they are good at and what is it that they really want to pursue going forward. We are talking about a lot of millennials who are going to be ready and who are there to take up jobs. But if you really see the bigger pie, it keeps shrinking because they don't have access to a lot of resources.
The point that Nidhi is making, that they're not sure of what they want to do. A, they don't know where else they can look beyond passing this particular class or going to the next. And it again comes back to there's so much that they could have done to skill themselves alongside. So they don't need to make a phone call to say, what can I do? They would know that I have these qualifications, I'm skilled in this. We come back to something I know we've spoken about in the past, but this India's inability to make skilling mainstream.
Yeah, that's quite an issue. You know, I mean, if you look at Ministry of Human Resource Development, they run a program called vocationalization of secondary skills, but they need to have more funds to do that. Very clearly, along with the starting from class 9 perhaps, till the time a student does class 12, you know, over and above the board certificate for class 12 that the student would get, they could have a skills certificate also. For example, in Haryana, we have been able to mainstream in the sense that along with the board certificate, you also get a certificate which has that vocational subject which you have studied 4 years for 1 hour a week, you know, kind of a thing. And the kids have got the best jobs in best of breed companies, you know. Of course, not everybody joins because many of them still want to pursue education.
Right.
So I think catch them young is very, very important, and mainstreaming skills is something which we have to work at a breathtaking speed. I completely agree with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, someone once said that, in matrimonial ads, they should have a special brownie points for those who have been skilled if India is to crack this.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, parents have to talk about that, I'm looking for a carpenter or a chef or a plumber for my daughter. I think
MasterChef did that, right? Suddenly there were lots more
Absolutely.
Indians and families also open to getting their children working as chefs or working in restaurants. But on a different note, Mr. Iswaran, there are all those who will say it's one thing to say that India doesn't have the jobs and, there is a demand-supply mismatch. But on the other hand, we keep looking at all this data that talks about students who are passing out of our institutions, all these graduates who are completely unemployable. Their numbers, of course, when we look at that data, is also absolutely horrifying. They spent all that time, energy, money, resources, etc. And then they are part of statistics that say that these many lakhs of Indians, despite having gone through the rigor of all those years, are unemployable for a whole host of reasons, sometimes as simple as language problems.
I think the solution really lies in a much more stronger academia-industry partnership. We must get into schools like finishing schools where in the last year of the college there is clear induction of the needs of the industry which is imbibed into the students so that they get ready. And taking on the certificate what Jayan spoke about, I think today, for instance, when we go for hiring in campuses, and we are going to hire large number of folks, let's say for IT, if the student passes out from a college and in addition to his degree, if he has got, let's say, certifications on either on PMP or on IFRS or on project management or whatever
That's
is
an
the
added
interest
bonus.
of his or hers, it would make a huge impact onto the job.
That's good to know.
And I think we as a country must make it mandatory that there must be certification courses which are added on either as a credit or as a non-credit program when students pass out, and this whole unemployability thing will just go away. We don't need to do a big hammer approach on restructuring the education in the country. What we need to do is to really add on to some of these softer aspects there.
Fair enough. That's reassuring in a sense that we really don't need to go back to the drawing board, maybe just a couple of changes there.